Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video here. Sorry if I have any, I'm trying to edit it if I have any long pauses, but I am a little bit sick at the moment, so if I sound weird, that's why. Um, so, 4th of July, the new exotic sky rifle got released. In the background, you will be seeing the exotic mission. I'm not going to show you the long and arduous process I had to go through to get this mission to start. But basically, you will have to catch 3 exotic fish that spawn in the Nessus, Throne World, and EDZ. And after that, you deposit them into the little fish tank. You'll get 3 broken blades. Technically speaking, if one person has the exotic unlocked and they do the broken blades, even if you haven't caught the fish, you can get the exotic. Which I don't know. I don't know if Bungie will fix this, but that's the case right now. So, after that, you find the 3 points, and at the second big area, you can deposit that coral and you can grab that 3rd buff before heading into the water. That's what my team did. I ran with Thunder Crash, the Curse of the Falling Star, Grand Overture, because it's one of the most ammo efficient heavy weapons out there in terms of exotics, Forbearance, and then Submission. I had Submission specifically because I had kinetic damage increased, and also you kind of, if I'm going to be honest, you should probably bring a primary ammo weapon of some sort for this fight, because you will probably run out of special and heavy by the end. But we got through in I think 3 phases with a couple minutes left. That was my setup. And of course you will see in the background gameplay, you'll see the mission and everything, so there is that. In my opinion, I think the mission being timed is fine. I don't like that it's a Tormentor boss. Again, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kinda sick of seeing just Tormentor bosses. Because, I mean, a couple of the campaign bosses were just Tormentors, but that made sense because they were first introduced. And also, like, Vow the Disciple, the final boss is just a big Tormentor. That's all Nezarec is, it's just a big Tormentor. And also in the first encounter, you just fight a bunch of big Tormentors. And I'm sorry, I'm just sick of seeing boss Tormentors just getting slapped everywhere. It feels lazy to me, and that's what this exotic mission felt like. It felt lazy to me. Like, it doesn't make much sense as to why there's a Tormentor down there. It just doesn't. Yes, there's a pyramid, but not all pyramids have Tormentors in them. There were no Tormentors in Vow of the Disciple. There weren't even Lucent Hive. I would have rather had a Lucent Hive boss, because that would have made more sense. That would have made more sense than just a random ass Tormentor there. The mission being timed is fine. I'm okay with it. I don't like the fact that you have to restart Deep Dive from the beginning if you fail. This is going to be a pain to do it with random groups. Definitely LFG and find a group. That's going to be my hardcore recommendation. In terms of the exotic sky rifle itself, we don't know what the catalyst does, but a thought that we do know that we're going to get it from deep dives. No one's got it yet, as far as I know, so it's probably time gated for next week. But I'm hoping that it does give a collective obligation. I saw the idea thrown out, like giving it collective obligation, and I think that would be great. Because right now, the exotic is only useful for higher end content, like GM specifically, and it makes Stasis more usable, yes. However, you do have some competing slots that are primary ammo and that technically can do champions. The newer Stasis Exotic Bow, Vergilus Curve. It can deal Shatter, which can stun unstoppable champions. You also have pulse rifles, specifically the Disparity, and there's also Syncopation, I think that's what it's called, that are stasis, and that can get Headstone, and at least Disparity can get Rapid Hit, Desperado, and pulse rifles are unstoppable if I remember correctly. So there's some competing slots, but it does make it more useful. I feel like this one is more geared towards Titan because the Cadamus Ridge exotic helmet that gives you improved diamond lances definitely seems to synergize well with this exotic. I will do a build for this exotic when we get the catalyst, because the catalyst may change how the weapon functions and how it would build it entirely. For example, Prometheus Lens, its exotic gives it subsistence, so instead of specking into reload, it can spec more into ammo or other stuff. Now, outside of all of that, it took me 2 hours. Bungie needs to fix fishing. Bungie needs to fix fishing as soon as possible. Because, dear God, I spent 2 hours straight trying to farm a fish to no avail. And then after that, I just kind of fished in between, doing my 3 checkpoints of Ghost of the Deep, of which I still don't have the exotic, despite having 2 drop boosts. Despite having 2 drop boosts, I still don't have it. And I will not do Master. But it took me almost 200 fish catches to get 1 exotic fish. And thankfully, thankfully it dropped for me. But I only got 19 legendaries and 1 exotic. Meaning, exotic fish right now, and this will be considering that all you have no loot boost or of any kind. It's about a 0.5% drop rate. And legendaries are a 1% drop rate. No, I guess exotics would be a 5% drop rate, and then legendaries would be a 10% drop rate. I got the most of blues. I got more blues than uncommons. And it's like, bruh, it was an accurate representation of the loot system prior to Witch Queen. His exotics felt a lot more rare prior to Witch Queen. And compared to now, especially. Okay, but that's where we're going to wrap up to talk about the exotic mission. Now here, we're going to talk about a Destiny 2 pay spin. Destiny 2 leaks pay spin. Now hold on a second. Of course, there's going to be some mild spoiler warnings. However, there are going to be gameplay spoilers and there are going to be story spoilers. I'm going to save these story spoilers for last, some of which I will not mention. I am not going to mention anything they said about the final shape. I will only be mentioning Season 22 and 23 because, I'm going to be honest, I've looked at some of the stuff for the final shape and some of it is self-contradictory with statements that we've heard from Bungie themselves. So, I will get into story spoilers later. We'll get into gameplay stories now. For Season 22 and Season 23, no Final Shape stuff. I will not be talking about anything in relation to the Final Shape. So for Season 22, the name of the season is kind of up for thing because I've heard different names, but the Spaceman calls it Season of the Vial. So, as far as I know, in terms of gameplay, weekly storyline takes place in missions like Interference from Season of Arrivals. That's the only gameplay thing that I see here. I don't know what Interference is from Arrivals. I was too busy grinding out a crap ton of exotics that I thought were going away. So I didn't really play the activity during Season of the Arrivals. So if that sounds like fun to y'all, let me know in the comments below. Also, exciting stuff. The season will end with a live event that will drop a new strike. That's all I'm going to say. And then Crucible map in the Vex network, Gambit gets 4 new weapons. Ritual weapon is a kinetic SMG. The returning raid is Crota's End. Apparently, it's going to be tied to a story. I'm not going to mention anything further than that. Like I said, story stuff will be for much later. We're going to focus on gameplay stuff. But Crota's End will be returning. With the pulse rifle, hand cannon, shotgun, and they also have some notable perk combos pointed out. So for the shotgun, cascade point, and trench barrel, the Sniper with triple tap and fourth time, notable role. Light Machine Gun, Rocket with, Rewind and Bipod, and the exotic will be Necrochasm. I can see Crota's being the return. And also, no Master Mode. Instead, Grandmaster, quote unquote, raid with Age of Triumph armor dropping and completely farmable encounters with high rewards. Not much more is known about the raid. Okay, I have heard recently that it is going to be Crota's End. However, the part that I doubt is Age of Triumph armor returning, because we have not seen the Age of Triumph return for any other raid. However, maybe that will change when they rework Vault of Glass and, eventually, King's Fall. King's Fall doesn't really need craftable weapons, so I don't know. Maybe they're going to change up the Master Mode system, because I definitely have some complaints to the Master Mode system with the fact that it is so champion heavy, and it's just difficult because you get hit harder, and I do prefer a little bit more mechanically challenging. So we will see. We will see what happens. Now for season 23, it's apparently gonna be pretty light on story content. Not going further than that. Basically, they're gonna be reworking the playlist. Essentially, playlist hardcore stuff. So, if y'all are excited, I just wait to the amount of stuff they plan on doing with Season 23, which this season does make sense in order to really hype up, try to get all eggs in one basket before, getting all your shit in order. We're weepy all the time. We've got getting all their shit in order before Final Shape comes along. So, this Season 23 is, I guess, going to be mainly improve the core activities, which I am perfectly okay with. So Cosmodrome overhauled and given loot table, day-night cycle is fixed, and Rocket Yard is added to patrol. I don't remember Rocket Yard. I did play through D1, its story, but I didn't spend much time in it. I never did any of the raids or anything, because barely anybody plays D1 anymore. New dungeon takes place in King's Watch in the Cosmodrome. That's all I'm going to say about that. Strike playlist rewards improved a lot. Bungie is highly cautious when adding strike-specific loot because of how it can weigh the player count of certain activities and also the quit rate, but have added 3 new strike-specific weapons and some returning ones and plan to add more in the mid-season patch if numbers look stable. They have adapted versions, meaning maybe new GMs, which will be exciting because so far all the GMs are just old strikes or old battlegrounds. Which that could be interesting. That was my main concern with strike specific loot. As far as you would definitely see a lot of people quitting strikes just to get the strike or whatever. Strikes will have secret activators in them to make the final boss harder and drop even better rewards. I can definitely see that being the case for Battlegrounds. I wonder which strikes will have that. And then 2 Destiny 1 Mars strikes added. Nokris and Zol strikes reintroduced. A Garden World strike introduced. Cyclops 1. Okay, I think I remember the Garden World, but Zol, that was my favorite strike of all of Destiny 2. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I just love it. Savathûn Song was one that I didn't care for that everybody loves. I wasn't that big of a fan of Savathûn Song, but everyone loves it. But I like Zol, and everybody, most people don't like it. I just love the fit. I just love that strike. Okay, that's exciting. 3 new strikes: Containment Breach, Tree of Silver Wings, and Brig Factory. And then they just say, "I'll let you guess which strike is on which planet." Containment Breach might be. Brick Factory is probably on Europa or Cosmodrome. My guess is Brick Factory will be on Europa. Trio of Silver Rings only makes sense on Io because that was the only place that I saw it. Containment Breach, I guess it'd be Nexus. Because Nexus is still around for whatever reason. Garden of Salvation weapons reprised. Crucible gets 3 new maps, one on Earth, Europa, and Essence Pyramid Ship. Blind Watch returns from Destiny 1. 5 new Crucible weapons. Comp weapon is a precision shotgun. New comp emblem is going on a 10-game win streak. Man. New Ascendant exclusive shader. New Crucible armor set similar to Shaxx's armor. By the way, when is Shaxx going to be story relevant? Less ability game mode and a 1v1 arena with uniquely modified maps. Ooh, that could be cool. All patrols increased in difficulty and reprised weapon sets, including Nessus and EDZ, so they aren't getting rid of Nessus. Okay. Large events added to Nessus, Europa, and Cosmodrome. I think like the Neomuna one, in parentheses. In parentheses I say, I think like the Neomuna one, with their own loot. Update, nothing crazy, wave-based with a boss-like terminal override. Okay. Okay. So, I gotta stand up for this. What I could see is a large event like that being added to these planets and having another drop source of exotics. For example, like Red War exotics being the Cosmodrome, a different set being in Europa, and a different set being on Nessus. I could see that, maybe so that Legend and Master Lost sectors aren't as pushed on with, you know, that sort of stuff. I'm gonna be honest, I worry about too much loot. Unless I can't Glimmer, possibly, but I don't know. I don't really care about strike-specific loot. I only really care about crafted weapons, and I also only really care about origin traits. Because most of the weapons now don't fit my playstyle in terms of origin trait. If you want to talk about all of just the, like, ones that I can remember, like for Valve the Disciple, the real, like, first origin trait for, like, that high-end content, that origin trait works perfect for me. Because Arc Titan has no survivability aspects to it, except higher damage resist, but that only goes up so much. It doesn't really have anything to heal you or give you an extra shield with, like Stasis does with Stasis Shards, or, you know, how Void has Overshield and Solar has, you know, Sunspots and Restoration and Cure. So Vow of the Disciple was good. The rest of those seasonal weapons, their perks doesn't really work out for me because, like, for example, for Seasons of the Seraph, Ambush only working in the opening encounters, in the opening moments of an encounter, I need something that lasts through the entirety of the encounter, because what's the point? You can just, like, switch off of it immediately. Oh, I will say Deepstone Crypt got a good origin trait as far as dealing damage gives you ability energy. I do like that. The new, for Kingsfall 1 is useless because I play a lot of stuff solo, like story stuff I usually do solo, like by myself. So that reload thing is kind of useless for me. And we said the weapons are pretty cool. For Last Wish, I think it's pretty solid because I do use grenades a lot, so that kind of makes a little bit of sense. But moving on. Adept Patrol weapons acquired by completing Master Lost sectors. Okay, so that supports the idea that... exotics might get moved to this giant event and Adept Patrol weapons be moved to Master Lost sectors. I think is a good idea. Because think about like an Adept Falling Guillotine. But I hope Adept weapons start to get a little bit more than just Adept mods, or at least being able to equip 2 of them, because, like, I'll be honest, Adept mods don't really replace the base weapon mods. Like Adept Big One spec, useful, yes, but, like, for heavy weapons, you really just need boss spec. You don't really need Adept Big One spec. Okay, a couple of new Adept mods include increased damage against miners and orange bars, no champions, so an Adept small miner spec or something like that. Probably Adept small one spec or something like that. Essentially shoot to loot light. Have to shoot ammo a few times for it to proc works instantly on special and heavy weapons. We already have shoot to loot is the issue. Suite of mods that apply small stacks of elemental status on enemies each shot. Unsure, as I have a hard time understanding this. Okay. Gambit. Gambit will finally get some love based on this in Season 23, which I am excited for. Gambit gets the Returning Dreaming City map. Finally! I never got to play on that map. Even though I did play a lot of Gambit and Gambit Prime before Beyond Light, I just never got that map. Also, and a new asteroid map. Asteroid being in quotations. Enemy density increased, invasions reduced. Can send enemy density increased, invasions reduced. Invasions reduced is great because, dear God, it feels like it's just a back and forth at times. Can send multiple lower level blockers at once. Okay. Blockers beefed up. 20 more blocker is back. Ooh, okay. New primeval bosses added. Colossus, Scion, Wizard, oh my god. Hobgoblin, Wyvern, oh my god, Wyvern, Brig, and Cyclops. Last three aren't taken, apparently. Okay, I'm glad the Wyvern... Yeah, it doesn't make sense for the Wyvern, Brig, or Cyclops to really be taken, because we've never seen them to be taken. Primevals have micro mechanics to them. Okay, I feel like they already do. I feel like they already do. 2 sets of returning weapons added to loot pool, 5 new weapons, new exotics for Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit, and Patrol activities. 1 each, all our RNG drops with Triumph's increasing drop rate. Interesting. Mods that progress crafted weapons when getting kills with abilities or other weapons. Oh my, that'll be so good. That'd be so good. The worst part is getting the level of your weapon to that perk set that you want to make it a little bit easier. Perk enhancement and focusing overhaul. Crafting overhaul. Turn any dropped weapon enhanced. Including cosmetic changes, scopes, and more mementos. So probably patrol mementos? Mid-season cosmetic pack update with stasis and strand armor ships. Armor/ships will add a new 6-man activity in the 9 realm again. We'll have more D1 armor and D1 weapons earnable in game. Okay. Old D1 and D2 tracks added to orbit music. New system in place to completely randomize it or set certain tracks that play first. Also added to Helm. Vaults of Glass weapon reprise. Okay. Is this all at the same season? Yeah, god damn. The most elaborate secret Destiny has had will tie into reprise Vault of Glass as a nod to the original fan theories. Not spoiling any of this, even the reward. Oh, okay. The game LFG will debut in this mid-season update, access through director or vendor in social spaces. Game LFG is so important to them right now that the final shape could have gotten delayed until it was added. Okay. Interesting. Okay, the only thing other than that I will say is I have heard somewhere, seen somewhere, that we might be getting a 12-man activity, and if that is the case, it's going to make perfect sense why they want an in-game LFG system. Okay, also, the only thing I will say about the final shape is, in this gameplay-wise, no new subclass for the final shape. Which I could see, but that's why I'm saying I'm not going to mention much in the final shape, because Bungie we've pretty much been told that we are getting a 3rd subclass. So, a 3rd darkness subclass. So I would not see why we would not get a new subclass. Unless maybe they are leaving it for a little bit later, like maybe season 25 or 26. Okay, general thoughts about the gameplay stuff. I'm not as excited for Season 22 as I am for Season 23. If we take all of this to be true, I am super excited for Season 23. The core playlist has needed, and I mean desperately needed a lot of this gameplay updates. Gambit needed some love desperately, and yes, Crucible needed some good maps, with some new maps. And Strike's getting a rework, and Patrol Space is getting reworked. A new secret coming. A lot of this sounds exciting. And I'm really glad that that Vault of Glass weapons are getting reprised, because Fatebreaker was, I believe it is still has the most kills out of any kinetic weapon that I've ever used. I think Heritage is close. I believe, if I remember correctly. I know Heritage is the highest kinetic special weapon. But man, a little more so than Weatherhorn, actually. Fatebreaker, maybe if it has like Origin Trait crafted. Sheesh. And then a Trustee, but I mean, with Vision of Confluence, but I already have Trustee. Hezin Vengeance, I do like that rocket launcher. So getting like craftable perks, you know, auto-loading and enhanced auto-loading and cluster bomb would be good for like one of the solar builds, especially to pair with Galley or whatever. To pair with somebody using Galley, but more so like Path of the Burning Steps build. Man, and Garden of Salvation's getting its weapons reworked. Will that make me want Garden of Salvation more? Absolutely not. Garden of Salvation does not have a single weapon that I would not rather get anywhere else. Okay. That was a lot of gameplay stuff. Now for story stuff. Again, spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. I'm going to talk about story stuff now. No Final Shape. No Final Shape stuff, only Season 22, and there's not much there for Season 23 because it's mostly going to be focused on the core playlist. You have been warned. Alright, so Season 22 is called Season of the Vial. Resurrection of Savathûn, which we've already determined at the beginning of this season. Started off working with Amaru to gain his trust while defending, and then we run a mission defending Amaru from Xivu's forces. Apparently Ikora, Crow, Eris, and Drifter are involved. Seasonal activity involves pacifying Wrathborn with Hive Magic and stopping Xivu from planting worms in Fallen and Cabal. Probably close to the Wrathborn hunt, I'm gonna guess. Worm gods are starving to death. Xivu tries to create more worm hybrids to increase tribute. 3-man seasonal activities similar to deep dives go further and further into Xivu Wrath's ships with changing buffs and rooms. There's a Hive ship, Fallen Scorn ship, and Cabal ship. Apparently really unbelievable art and jumping ship to ship. Okay. This should have been under gameplay, but I tried to avoid as much of this as possible. Xivu's Hive visual motif is deep matte blacks and neon greens. Architecture looks akin to Moon Hive architecture with pulsing green fire from within. Huh. Weekly storyline. It takes place in missions like Interference. Yeah. They take place at a location called Essence that I believe is a pyramid. Savathûn teaches us to extract pieces of the witness's consciousness to weaken it. We learn memories of it from this. Ah, that makes sense. So I guess Savathûn's back, which is great because I love Savathûn. After learning about Savathûn's revival, Xivu Arath starts putting pieces in place to wipe out the city. She has become emissary of the witness, not disciple. Does that mean she's starting to become sort of like the witness? And now can act freely in Sol while the witness is inside the portal. Damn. One detail is that she's performing a ritual to make a massive kaiju-ass ogre to siege the city, and apparently it's made of parts of Scorn and Cabal as well. Damn. Seasonal twist is that Savathûn reveals she does not know how to get into the portal herself, but believes through Vex technology we can. Then season ends with a live event that will drop a new strike in the last city where we defeat this ogre, someone dies. Crucible map, okay, yada. Okay. That is a lot. It sounds like an exciting season story-wise, and apparently Crota's going to be tied into it as well. So first time Bungie has tried this, Crota's End will actually take place present day and be involved in the story. Crota has been resurrected as a lucent hive and has reclaimed his brood. not adhering to any of the goals of Xivu Arath or Savathun. He kidnapped Savathun's dead singers to try and regain his memories in order to enact revenge against those who killed him, which was us. Okay. So, it basically might be called Crota's End, but I doubt it's going to be much like what I doubt it's going to be exactly like Crota's End. Okay. I'm going to guess who dies. Ikora, Crow, Eris, or Drifter. I doubt it's going to be Drifter, because Drifter is the only character that is tied to any capacity to the Nine, besides Sir, that I know of. Ikora recently got a new voice actress. I doubt it's going to be Crow. Maybe Eris. I could see Eris Morn dying here. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Eris Morn. I could see Eris dying. Possibly Zavala. I could see that. Honestly, based on how the season sounds, if there was a way for Zavala to go out valiantly, it definitely has to be against a giant-ass kaiju, alright? Can't be it has to be cinematic as fuck, alright? And most definitely, I will definitely be streaming this strike, and I will try to at least pinpoint when this live event happens, take the day of and the day after off, and definitely be participating in this live event, if possible, because, man, this would be so exciting. Okay. Alright. Season 23. Pretty light on story content, the Elixian Cabal help us repurpose Exodus Craft in the Cosmodrome to become a new human fleet. I'm assuming it meant Exodus Crash. Right? Seasonal areas in Helm and Last City, story missions in Cosmodrome that reuse Taken King colony ship in Tiri. Okay. Also, I'm glad we're finding more on our home turf now, you know, in the Last City. Okay, apparently there's an massive underground fallen complex. But that is all we have for story in terms of season 23. I know, very sparse. Okay. Some stuff I will mention is beyond a lot of the stuff. Take with an absolute grain of salt. Stuff beyond the final shape is going to be time for the Vex, essentially. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, but I'm going to wrap this video up here. If y'all enjoyed the vid, let me know. And if y'all got any thoughts, let me know in the comments below. I will advise everyone else, if you don't want spoilers, avoid the comment section if possible. But let me know what y'all think of the new exotic scout rifle, though. Because, especially if you're not a Titan main, because as a Titan main, this seems to synergize pretty well with Cadmus Ridge, but let me know what y'all other Guardians think. Anyways, I will, later on this week, if Bungie releases a good TWAB today, I'll make a video about it tomorrow, on Thursday, today releases. But on that note, I will catch y'all on the flip side.